it's Raina back again. Today I'm going to be talking about my beautiful FinFolk Mythic Tail. I'm going to give you a little bit of a review, but I'm just going to give you the disclaimer that it is an older version of the tail and it is used to me, so you have to keep that in mind and, you know, draw your own conclusions, take certain things as a grain of salt because they may not be applicable. Before we get into that though, I'd like to please ask that you click the bell if you want to get notified, like and subscribe. It helps us so much with getting our videos around for other folks to see. And check us out on patreon.com/Raina Mermaid if you would like to get so many awesome resources and behind the scenes, exclusive chats, all kinds of fun stuff for $2 a month. You can go higher if you want. I also do mentoring, it's all good. So yes, I decided that my collection was missing a FinFolk Mythic Tail. We had a really good summer with Halifax Mermaids, and I had a good summer personally financially. I got a little bit extra money than I was expecting, and I decided it would be good to invest in one of these because I didn't have one yet. Everybody was always asking for reviews, and I have a merman that I can put in this that I think is going to look amazing in this, so it was a good investment for my business as well. That being said, I got it used from somebody and it did not look like it does now. We've done some work, which I'm going to talk about. So let's just talk about the basics here. This is an extra small, tall FinFolk Mythic, and I believe it's second generation, first or second generation. It's the Ariel Green, so I think that's second. It's made of neoprene with resin scales and a silicone fluke. It did not come with the extra fins. I had the extra fins made for me by Fancy Fish Fashions. She's the lady who made those tights for me that have the fins on the side. My mermaid, Mermaid Nova, glued and sewed them on for me, along with reinforcing all of the scales and fixing some of the zipper in the back. So it came to me just scales, and I'm going to talk about the scales to start. You hear that noise? They're resin, and it's kind of weird wearing them, not gonna lie. When you're sitting in it and moving around, it makes that noise. Now, I am not bothered by that noise whatsoever. In fact, my ADD kind of loves it, and it sort of like reminds me of a fidget. I like kind of sitting here and just being like, I feel like that episode of Futurama with Beck, where Bender became a washboard, and I just sit there with my tail and I make my washboard music. Like a little tambourine. I really like it, I really like it. So these are individual resin scales, and in the old version, a line is done on the same string, same fishing line. So if the line breaks, you end up losing a lot of the scales, and that is the biggest flaw in these older versions, which I believe has been addressed in the newer versions. So when people get these tails, the first thing they tend to do with these older ones is reinforce all of the scales so that they don't shed and they don't fall off, and they tend to, on the inside, put a little glob of glue on the string so that if one of the strings breaks, it only goes as far as the glue and then it doesn't keep shedding. So if you happen to get one of these old FinFolk tails, I would suggest doing that. There are so many amazing tutorials on YouTube right now of other mermaids who have rescaled like their whole tails. They have instructions on how to do it, they have instructions on how to reinforce it, and they have instructions on replacing the zipper if you break the zipper. It's so awesome. I personally can't do those kind of things because I have dyspraxia and my fine motor control is not good enough. So I hired Mermaid Nova to do it for me. I think I paid her like $250 and was just like, do all this work. And she was awesome and did an amazing job. So the scales are kind of a point of controversy in the mermaid world, and I do feel that FinFolk has really listened to that critique and tried to do better in the future. So I tried this one. I only tried it once in the ocean because I wanted to be able to give an authentic review, and I wanted to be able to truly see if the scales come off as easy as people say. So before we did any of this work for it, I just got it as is. It didn't have anything broken on it. I took it for a swim in the ocean, and I had Sean follow me so that he could keep track of any scales that fell off. Ooh boy, I lost like 20. It was crazy. I think what happened was just getting the tail on and getting into the water, I must have pulled a string. And I just lost a whole string of them, and he was going around underwater picking them up. So the scales, that's kind of a thing. In the newer versions, as I understand it, they're much more reinforced, they're on stronger neoprene, they're sewed individually so that you don't lose them, but still, you kind of have to have that disclaimer that even with all that extra work done, it's kind of up to you as the mermaid to sequin responsibly. So remember, I did a video about 1.5 years ago about being responsible with sequin tails because they can shed, they're in the environment, fish will eat them. It is pollution because this is resin, right? So that's not something that's gonna break down. So you definitely wanna do that. So after my one experience in the ocean, I did decide that I am not going to take this tail in a natural body water again. I will do photo shoots outside and maybe like put the fluke in the water for a photo shoot, but I'm not gonna swim. And I will use it in pool slots, and I will use it in my tank shows, and I will use it for gigs, but I'm not gonna use it in the ocean or in a lake again because it's just too much of a risk for me to lose these. And because of that, a FinFolk tail with sequins may not be the best choice for all mermaids. If you do a lot of gigs in natural bodies of water, it might not be the best choice for you. I wouldn't be going and using these in the springs all the time. In Florida, like definitely that could be problematic. But for pools, for land, for tanks, I think they're phenomenal. So that was one of the first things that had to be fixed, was we had to fix all these scales. The scales do kind of fade over time. They get scuffed up, they lose a bit of their color. You can buy scales from the FinFolk website to replace them, which is great. They're pretty cheap. And people also just buy the scales to make things out of, which is pretty cool. It's like ASMR. I just love it. I do want to say too, it's been a few years since these tails came out, but it was really groundbreaking when FinFolk put these out, and nothing is going to be perfect the first time. I am not necessarily a huge fan of most FinFolk products, but I'm a huge fan of FinFolk, especially Abby and Bryn, the owners, because I feel that they really changed the mermaiding landscape. They had people ripping off their tails and making fabric knockoffs, and they said, okay, well, we're gonna make them and we're gonna make them better. And they did, and they kept getting better and better and better. And they listened to the feedback, and their next line would be better and better and better. And again, I didn't really like mine, and I ended up giving it away to somebody, but now we're a few generations later, and from what I hear from everybody, the tails are awesome and I would totally love them. They look beautiful, it just wasn't for me. Also, with them doing their fundraising and how they managed to pay for their factory is mind-blowing, super business savvy, amazing stuff. Their factory in itself, the fact that they're employing other mermaids to do this stuff, like I have so much love and respect for FinFolk for that stuff. So when I'm saying kind of like my personal opinions of these tails and these criticisms, they are personal, and I don't want people to think it's me bashing FinFolk as a company, because honestly, they are goals. Like if I could do what they're doing in Canada, I would do it. Like it's amazing. So all of that being said, this is an older tail and they continue to improve, and they were the first ones to do something like this, and it was groundbreaking at the time, and they're still groundbreaking, so it's awesome. Good job, FinFolk. Okay, so that's the scales. Now, we get to the inside of the tail. The inside of the tail, fluke is silicone on the outside. It's got beautiful sculpted scales until you hit the resin, and the resin itself is like a graduated gradient of color. So different greens that kind of blend into it, and then you get the beautiful pieces here, and then it's very shiny and shimmery. There is a little bit of air pocket where the monofin is inside, so I do feel the monofin when I swim shift a little bit, and it's a foil, I believe, in this one. And I keep getting little lines where it bends when I move it, so you can kind of see the size of it. I believe that you had the option of picking different monofins, and some people upgraded to the shooter, and I've heard from people that the shooter is much better in terms of just strength. The foil has always been a great pool tail, but that's about it, right? It's good, it's light and everything, but I haven't tried the shooter yet. I need to get my fins on one, but I hear it's great. There's also some drainage holes, just places where it's not completely sealed so that the water comes out. Now, it's not in here anymore, but my tail originally had a liner, which I hated. I understand why it was done, because all of this does not feel very good on your bare legs. So I totally get that. but I hated the liner, and I found it really difficult to get my legs into the tail, like more difficult than a silicone tail. So I mentioned that in the FinFolk group, and FinFolk said, oh, you can take out the liner, it doesn't have to be there. Thank you. I was worried that it would maybe compromise the integrity of the tail or the structure or something, but no, it's really just kind of a barrier to help protect against that stuff. So I had Mermaid Nova take it out for me. That means I have to wear leggings or tights or something every time I wear this. It is pokey if I don't. It's a size extra small, which I said before, extra small, tall, and it's still short on me, even though it's a tall. It's a low-rise tail, but for me, that's like, it's barely low-rise, like barely covers my butt. So I had to come up with a belt system, and I found this really gorgeous belly dancing belt that I love, and it kind of blends into the sequins. A lot of other people buy gap wraps from companies like Nation or the Fluke Boutique, or they make one themselves and they use gap wraps. Some people just use a scarf, a pretty scarf. Some people use netting, whatever. I don't think it would be short on most people, but it was short on me. And even though it's an extra small, the neoprene itself stretches out so much that it was baggy on me in some places. So I would normally be a medium or a large. And had I not heard from other people that I could size down with a tail like this, I would have never considered buying an extra small. So the woman that I bought this from also is very similar in measurements to me, and she just said, yeah, you'll fit in this fine, trust me, we're the same measurements, we're the same weight, you're gonna fit in this fine. And she was right, I was really shocked. I can't put the tail on by myself. I have to get in it, roll over, have someone zip me up, and have someone do the Velcro. If you buy a tail from FinFolk that has the fins already, I believe the fins are Velcroed, and I just haven't done that myself, but you can Velcro it to cover up the zipper. So, and I have heard complaints about older generation zippers breaking. My zipper's been great. I think my zipper is not the one that had that problem, but if you end up buying a used older generation, just keep in mind you might have to have the zipper replaced. So if you buy older versions of these tails, they're kind of going to be a bit of a make-work project, and some people love that, and that's awesome. And for me, I was like, I think that's cool. We're going to be able to document this all. Mermaid Nova took some videos, and we're going to see if we can put some of those either in this video or in their own video of her working on it. So I really liked it. So I get it on, I roll over, Sean zips it up. Originally, we did not have these fins. Like I said, I got them made by Fancy Fish, and I really love them, and I think I'm actually gonna get some more. I think I would like some side fins because they look really good. So the swimming in an experience was difficult. In salt water, I could barely swim because the neoprene is already floaty. The salt water makes you float, and I float. So I could barely do anything. It's been a long time since I've swam with a foil monofin. I'm used to stronger monofins. I could not go anywhere. So it was kind of funny. I did my best. Sean got some video, it was fine. I had a much easier time when I went in the pool. And in the pool, I still float. It's still tricky. It's still very tricky, but I could actually get moving. The thing about the buoyancy with the neoprene for me, and not everyone's gonna have this experience, it depends on your body chemistry, but for me, even trying to do flips, I would float up so fast that it was hard to do flips. And I've got this video where I'm doing these two flips and you can just see me like going shoo straight up. So here's my solution that I'm gonna do to this. Because I have this extra space inside, because the tail's a bit baggy on me, and because I took the lining out, I am going to sew/glue in pockets on the inside that I can put weights in. And then, when I'm getting it up and on, I just stick the weights in, and they have a place to stay. Because one of the problems when you're putting weights inside a mermaid tail is that as you swim, they move around and they hurt your legs. And they also change how the tail floats because maybe the weights go all the way to the bottom or something, right? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna maybe get some felt or something, like I'm not sure, and we're just gonna put that in there, and it's gonna fit these little beanbag weights that I have, or maybe the pellet ones, I'm not sure. I think probably 4 pounds will do it, and I'll kind of disperse them. And then I think I will have a much easier time swimming in it and sinking in it, and I'll be able to use it for tank shows and stuff like that. I've heard from other mermaids that they all put weights in it as well, and I think just putting a permanent pocket in where I can take weights in and out is gonna be the easiest thing. So first impression in the ocean, not great. Second impression in the pool, much better. I think once I add weights to it, it's gonna be even better. It's gonna be even better. In terms of maintaining it, When I'm done with it, we give it a good rinse in the tub, or sometimes the pools have like a shower that's outside on the pool deck and it's like a hose that you can take down and I'll spray it off. And it does take a while to dry, so I would invest in a small fan that you can literally shove up inside of it. And that's what we do. We just shove the fan right down as far as the zipper goes, leave the rest open to air dry, and then have it go right to where the zipper, and then blow the rest of the air through, and then you're fine. There's no mold in it. There's been no issue. It's really beautiful. It's very convenient for photo shoots because, again, you just have to zip it on and it's cool. It's really an easy tail to Photoshop too. So one of the things is the scales might separate and you see the fabric in between, and in terms of Photoshop you can just grab the clone tool, which is also available on a million apps. So even if you don't have Photoshop, you can use it on another app and you can kind of clone tool out those spots and it looks great, content aware, whatever. It looks so stunning in pictures and video. In real life, it's you see it, I can tell that it has some wear and tear on it and everything, but it does not show up in pictures and videos. Oh my God, it just looks stunning. It's just so pretty. I cannot get over how pretty it is. And I find them very gender neutral, like regardless of the color. You can put them on anybody and they look good. I've seen men wearing pink ones and they look amazing. We put Mermaid Tail in one. She is very petite and this is an extra small. And it was so baggy on her, but she looked gorgeous. It just looked so gorgeous. I love doing photos in it. I love the way it looks in the water. I love the way the scales move. I love the sound of the scales. And it was kind of fun that Nova and I could work on this as a little project and just kind of me have the input and her put it together and do everything. It was very enjoyable. So it's been a good experience. I am happy that I bought it used and didn't buy a brand new one. I don't have any plans on selling it, but if I did sell it, I would probably put the price up just slightly because we added the fins and all the reinforcement and did all the extra stuff to it. But you know, if you can get your hands on one of these older tails, I think it's worth it as long as you have the time, money, and energy to invest in kind of sprucing it up a bit. They don't take a whole lot, but the sprucing up is kind of crucial to the longevity of the tail. In terms of the new ones, I have not gotten to see the new collaboration with Carol in person yet. I look forward to seeing one of them. Again, it's not my favorite design out there in the world, but I don't know. It's just, there's something so groundbreaking and unique about it. I can remember being young and Hannah Fraser having the sequin tails that she would hand sew. And I remember there was this thread on Mer Network when everyone got to meet Hannah and she let them photograph her tail and kind of how she made it, and they put pictures on it and everything. And I remember that we didn't really have silicone to use as fluke pieces. It was vinyl flooring that was cut up and everything. Like, how have we come so far? It's so crazy. It's amazing. And I love that FinFolk is this female-owned business that is employing other women and in the arts, no less. And during a time like this in COVID, like when the arts have been so slashed so hard, it's just really impressive. So I'm really impressed with everything. So anyway, that is my beautiful FinFolk tail. I love it. Thank you to Mermaid Nova for doing all the updates. Check out some of the videos I have with the swimming compilations. I've got lots of gorgeous photos with it you can check out. And you know, if you see one coming up for sale, grab it. They're totally worth it. I love it. But sequin responsibly, please. And you're kind of like, oh yeah, like, you know, that's a tail, but I can tell that it's got some wear and tear. I'm a loser, baby, so why don't you kill me? I'm back.